So the Military Times has an ominous warning about the war in Afghanistan. Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis is out. Mattis's resignation comes amid news that President Donald Trump has directed the drawdown of 2,000 U.S. forces in Syria and 7,000 U.S. forces from Afghanistan, a U.S. official confirmed to Military Times, a story first reported by the Wall Street Journal. This month, in the January-February print issue of the gun and hunting magazine Recoil, the former contractor security firm Blackwater USA published a full-page ad in all black with a simple message, quote, "We are coming." Is the war in Afghanistan and possibly elsewhere about to be privatized? If Blackwater returns, it would be the return of a private security contractor that was banned from Iraq but rebranded and never really went away. By 2016, Blackwater had renamed and restructured several times and was known at the time as Constellus Group, when it was purchased by the Apollo Holdings Group. Reuters reported earlier this year that Apollo had put Constellus up for sale, but in June the sale was put on hold. So this is something that is, I think it might happen. And if it happens, then the whole thing about Trump getting out of Afghanistan and Syria was basically a ruse, because he was flirting with this idea previously. Remember, Betsy DeVos is his education secretary, and related to Betsy DeVos is Eric Prince, the head of Blackwater, which is a private mercenary army which committed war crimes and atrocities in Iraq and kind of escaped punishment because they changed their name and restructured, like this article points out. But Trump was flirting with the idea of privatizing the war in war in Afghanistan and war in Syria, maybe Iraq too. And I remember Eric Prince did an all-out tour. He went on Fox News and basically preached directly to Trump, and we all know Trump watches Fox News endlessly. So this guy was basically begging Trump, like, okay, please privatize the wars, and that's the way to do it. And Trump might do that. And if that's the case, everything that's positive about him getting out of Afghanistan and Syria, take it all back, because now the position he would be taking in that instance is actually even worse than just the status quo of keeping the U.S. military there. Because, I mean, you want to talk about unaccountable. Blackwater, I mean, that's as unaccountable as it gets. Private mercenary armies, and by the way, Eric Prince, who again was the head of it, super fundamentalist Christian. So look at the optics. Private mercenary army sent to foreign Muslim majority nations, and they wage endless war. So a super Christian leading a mercenary army in the Middle East against Muslim majority countries. And it's hilarious that they say that, that this is viewed as like a private entity, because it's still taxpayer money that funds it. It's just taxpayer money now going to a for-profit private venture. If Trump goes down this road, it's even worse than the status quo, because this is another way to skirt any accountability whatsoever, and to basically let these guys get away with whatever the fuck they want to get away with in these Middle Eastern countries. And we know Donald Trump has already loosened some of the rules of war. He wants to go further. He doesn't want any rules to apply to what we're doing overseas. So just know that if this happens, and this is an ominous ad where it looks like it's happening, that it was it was basically a ruse. It was a trick. You get the accolades of getting out of Syria and Afghanistan from regular people. I know mainstream media shit all over him for it, but regular people like that. But if it's just going to go back in and go in with a private mercenary army led by a fundamentalist Christian, that's honestly even worse than what we had before, and it's worthy of all the scorn and hatred under the sun.